I'm recording to the cloud just now. And if you need to ask any questions, unmute yourself, because I don't want to mute you. I'm not meaning for you to be quiet. It's just so that there's not so much background noise. So if you've got any sort of belt, you don't need a yoga belt, and anything that you're going to use to, like a book, a big book that you can grip in between your knees. So yeah, tonight's practice isn't as flowy as I normally would teach. I normally, as you know, like to work with energetics. I like to work with the vayus, chakras, the koshas. I really like to incorporate a lot of the philosophy into it. But you know, this is, but we need to embody. We need to really embrace where our body is, you know, as well. And anatomy is a big part of it. And you know, I also didn't want to let you guys down either, because I've hurt my back, and I thought, well, I'm not going to cancel. You know, as I was speaking to some of you guys who were doing the moonology stuff, or it was also speaking about last week as well. You know, about well, we're in Chiron, which is the wounded healer. This means speaking about astrology again. Chiron is in Aries, and there's a huge big thing going on with Chiron, and it's a wounded healer, and it's the wounds from your childhood that are coming up just now that need to be healed and processed and looked at. So we have to dig deep, and I think everyone's going through some sort of thing right now with that. Interestingly, Chiron is in Aries. It's Chiron in Aries, which is about that sort of wounded healer where you've been rejected for being who you are. And from looking at my natal chart, I was born with Chiron in Aries, so it kind of really resonates with me. So I used to get thrashing for being myself, for being too much. So when we were speaking about Chiron is actually one of your greatest gifts. So if you can look at your deepest wounds, if you turn it on its head and learn from them, they can be your greatest gifts that you can give to others. So this past week, I have been like, oh my God, my back is so sore. So but you know what? I'm going to use that. That's a wound in itself, and I'm going to use it as a gift to give back. Because as yogis, if you guys have been practicing for a while, you're going to have more of a hypermobile SI joint than most people. And most of you guys are women. Well, all of you guys that are live are women. Well, and if you're not, that's okay. Basically, as women, you know, our SI joints tend to be looser, or ligaments, and you know, for you pregnant ladies especially as well. So I've even brought a fake pelvis with me. So you know, my neighbours will keep looking down today. I was practicing. You know, I like to feel it in my body for a teacher. So rolling about my mat, doing all this weird stuff with my pelvis. The neighbours are looking down, going, "Who is this woman?" But anyway, yeah. I wanted to share with you, instead of cancelling because I'm in pain, it's like, let's work with hip stability, and let's look at, you know, so something interesting, if you're interested in looking at your natal chart, you know, as we know, yoga is self-realization, self-awareness. So again, you know, as we say, looking at your north node is your dharma. See where Chiron is in your natal chart. You know, Chiron's a planet that we don't normally speak about, but that will be your childhood wound that you need to address, or just look at, bring light to the darkness, and you know, bring acceptance into where you're at. What is your gift, and what's coming up for you right now? It will make sense. So anyway, so we're embracing our wounds in the sense that turning on your head. That's the Yoga Sutras. It's Yoga Sutra 2.33. There you go. Prativaksha Bhavana. You know, it's like opposite, turning a negative into a positive by thinking differently. Okay, so we're doing that tonight. There's Mars is still in Gemini as well, which means we're, yeah, our thoughts are quite active, but we're not very clear in our minds. There's less clarity going on. And also, if Mars is in Aries, one of my teachers says that you might have noticed this as well, that if you do something, if you start something, you end up having to do it twice. Or if you tell somebody something, you have to tell them again. Or they're asking you again. And it's Gemini. Mars in Gemini means that if something happens, just accept you might have to do it again or do it twice. So that might be relevant to you guys as well. So listening to that too. So yeah, so tonight we're going to work with, it's not going to be so flowy. I'm going to be speaking about the SI joint. And I think all of us will have back issues at some point in our lives, unfortunately, or someone close to you will have. So look, it's important to not self-diagnose. So I've been practicing for over 25 years now. So I'm aware of my body, and I know I've got a hypermobile SI joint. I'm aware, I could feel it pop when I was lifting very heavy things out of storage containers, moving house. People say it's from doing yoga. Sometimes you're hypermobile there because of yoga, but if you're lifting something heavy and torque, it did it. And then I went on an 11K walk with my daughter, and that's when that acerbated it. So walking, because the SI joint is the joint that is our, what do you call it? It's a weight, they're weight bearing, and they provide shock absorption. So anything to do with like walking or running, it's going to acerbate and any sort of issues there. Twists are going to acerbate it as well. And I've been working a lot with Samana Vayu, as you know. So having a hypermobile SI joint and doing that, walking a lot, it's come away. It's very sore, very inflamed. So it's time to bring my pelvis back in. Okay, so this is really going to be really helpful for you. If you feel it, so there's a difference between SI joint pain and sacroiliac pain, not sacral, sciatica. I saw my granny today, she's got sciatica, so we were comparing notes, and also lumbago. Lumbago sounds like a horrible pudding that you used to get in the 80s at school. But lumbago is actually, it's a similar sort of pain to SI joint pain, but it's brought on by having weak gluteus medius. So that's like your bottom muscles, not the biggest ones, the ones at the side there, and tight inner groin muscles. So be aware that it's not lumbago. And sciatica, it will have a shooting pain all the way down your leg. It's going to be quite, it's a shooting pain that goes right down your leg. Sciatica, SI joint pain tends to be on one side, and so does sciatica. So if it's on both sides, it might just be a muscle. But just now, I'm very aware of which one it is. But we're going to do something at the beginning of practice and after practice. And even if you don't have SI joint pain, you might have managed to stabilize your pelvis. So we're resetting our pelvis. And as women, we sometimes, especially with our hormones, if we do have hormones, our pelvises can become quite unstable. And that could lead to other issues if we have unstable pelvises as well. So tonight we're resetting our pelvises. There we go. Instead of balancing chakras, we're really taking it. And that's about grounding, safety, security, stability. This is a root chakra thing as well. It's about feeling safe, and that's another Chiron thing going on here. Okay, so the ligaments in the SI joint, here's my pelvis. So we've got the pelvis here, and we've got the iliac here, the iliac crest, and then in here, this is the sacrum here. So this bit in here, these bits are where the SI joints are, okay? And they should be fairly stable. For most humans, they tend to be. But a lot of yogis, especially Ashtanga yogis, and the fact that they're really trying to haul their, you know, the ones that are working with second series, when they're trying to get the head, the foot behind the head, that's really not good for an SI joint. If your body isn't happy with it, there's bone compression there, and and it's not tensile, it's going to pop something. Okay, so don't push yourself in that sense. Listen to your body. Okay, that's yoga. So so the SI joint is the hub for the transference of force between the legs and the torso. So any yoga pose that we do, we tend to involve the SI joint. So bringing awareness in here is really helpful. So tonight we're going to correct pelvic imbalances. So this is like what we need to do is we need to stabilize our hips. We need to tone the abs, which is always good anyway. It's coming up for summer. We might come out of lockdown. We want to strengthen the muscles that are surrounding the pelvis. We want to work more with Mula Bandha. This is going to give it support as well. And we want to stretch our hamstrings out, our glutes and our lower back as well. So we've got to move with care. So I'm not teaching a generic flowy yoga class tonight. So we're not going to be doing seated forward bends and stuff like that. But if you're doing daily practices and you feel a little bit of something, really listen to your body. So move with care in seated forward bends, twists, and any wide-legged poses. Okay, and move the sacrum as a unit. It used to be back in the day when I first started practicing yoga in Parivrtta Trikonasana, revolved triangle. They tell you to imagine you're balancing a teacup on your back and not move it. You need to move it all as a unit, or you're going to torque. Okay, so listen to your body. I always speak about function as opposed to form. It doesn't matter how you look. Feel it in your body. Okay, we want to keep our pelvis level when we do some things. So if you're working with twists, and even if sleeping in bed, so I've been having to do all these different things, sleeping in bed with pillows in between. So if you're moving into Jatara Parivartasana, supine twist, you can have block in between. So when you do move, your pelvis is remaining stable. There's no instability there. Okay, and also rolling to one side and coming back up. I'm really guilty for not doing that, and I have to be more mindful. Our bodies tell us things, so maybe this is my naughty thing of always rocking myself back up. So no abduction, as in I'm not meaning no abducting any humans. This is your hips. Don't abduct any humans either. I've never done it before. But I wouldn't recommend it. Me finding myself hilarious there. Okay. But no abducting means taking away. So you're moving so hip abduction. So no wide-legged stuff if you've got your SI joints unstable. So it's things like Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose, Prasarita Padmottanasana, and yes, I taught some of these ones on Sunday for the Moonology, and I think that acerbated as well. I was like, oh, fire through, yay! But no, you need to practice self-care. So I'm very silly, and I'm not going to do that again. So also laterals, extended laterals like Utthita Trikonasana, triangle, and Utthita Partha Konasana, extended ones where you've got your legs wide apart. It's going to put some instability there too, as much as they're great for mental health, well-being, and the energetics if you're unstable in that area. stay away. I do love them, but I'm staying away. Okay, so ones that you can work with, we are going to move into it in a minute. I do tend to gibber a little bit at the beginning, but it's quite relevant to you what we're doing. Ones that are good for you to help bring stability into the pelvis is the bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana, but do it without arching. So do it with your abs engaged. So you engage your abs. So opposite limb extension, so the superhero pose. We're going to do a lot of these ones tonight. Shavasana, the one on your belly, lifting your arms up and your legs up. Dhanurasana, your bow pose, because it moves the pelvis forward and it contracts the posterior muscles, okay? Some standing poses that don't aggravate the SI joints. We're not doing too much of that tonight. And consider symmetrical poses and symmetrical prone back bends after standing so that you can neutralize the sacrum. I'm aware that a lot of you guys are yoga teachers, so I'm kind of talking to yoga teachers as well, but some of you guys aren't, but you've been practicing for a long time, so it's relevant to your body. Modifications as well to be aware of is, if you're in down dog, turn your heels out, okay? And so come out of the alignment thing if you've got SI joint injuries, or one of your students does, or anything like that. Heels coming out, just to give the sacrum that sense of stability. In pelvic tilts, don't arch. In bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana, engage your abs. You can use a block between the knees. And if you are coming into Baddha Konasana, support the knees in a restorative. Okay, so that's where we're at. So we're going to begin. Okay, and this is where you're going to find a bit of wall tonight, because this is where we start and this is where we end. And it's really, I did this with my daughter. I practiced it with my oldest daughter, and she was like, "Wow, that's amazing." Because there was a difference after resetting the pelvis. So you're going to lie on your backs with your feet against the wall. So you're lying on your back in Shavasana, but try and get your feet against the wall. So it's Shavasana with your feet flat against the wall if you can. Okay. If you don't have a bit, well, actually, most people have walls, because otherwise you wouldn't be inside. So if you're outside, put your feet against a tree. Okay, so feet against the wall. And then you're going to take your peace fingers, your index finger and your middle fingers, and place them on the front of your hips. So you're going to notice your front hip placement. So is your hips, is one hip closer to the ceiling than the other? Is one closer to your shoulder or other? Is it higher? Bring awareness to, can you press both feet evenly on the wall? Is one leg longer than the other? So just bring awareness into any asymmetry in the body with your hips and your feet. And then draw attention to your belly and your lower back, and start to really deepen into belly breathing here. So as you inhale, the belly is rising, and as you exhale, it's going back down. So deep, slow, smooth belly breathing, just coming into your body now. Letting go of anything that's happened to you today, anything that's going to happen to you. Just checking in with yourself, checking in with your body. So you should be in Shavasana. So Norma, you bring your legs down, so it's Shavasana with the soles of your feet on the ground. Yeah, just so you can be aware of whether your hips are higher or lower and whether you can get your feet flat on the wall. So it's not Viparita Karani. We're not doing restorative. So it's just so you can lie on your back in Shavasana and try and get your flat of your feet on the wall. That's it. Just to bring awareness into any instability or any differences between the hips. Okay, so you can either stay on there or moving back onto your mat if you've come off the mat. And we're moving into a bit of a sacral reset here. Okay, so what you're going to do is lying on your back into almost like a bridge pose here. And you're going to get your right foot and place it to just below the knee, to the inner thigh of the left thigh. Hands are down by your side here. And then you're lifting your hips up and pushing that foot into the thigh. Try and get your torso to be at the same diagonal line with the left thigh. And just find your breath here. Now from here, you're going to lift your head slightly as well. And then breathe. Gently releasing. Bringing both feet down. We're going to do the other side. So the left foot is going to go to the inside of that thigh, just below the knee. And then you're lifting up the hips, pushing that left foot into the right thigh, lifting up the hips, trying to get your torso in line with the right thigh here. Breathing into it. And then lifting the head up slightly so you're looking up towards what's going on up there with your feet. Bringing that back down, both feet down. So let's repeat that again. So that right foot is on the inner thigh. And then when you're ready, pushing up, pressing that foot into the thigh, feeling the resistance, then lifting up the chin slightly, your head slightly off the ground so that starts to engage the abs. Remembering to breathe. Slowly taking the head down and then coming down with the hips. And do the other side. Pushing into the thigh, and you're ready, lifting up, feeling the resistance, breathing into it, lifting that hips up if you can. When you're ready, if you don't have neck issues as well, if your neck's saying, no, I'm not doing that, listen to your body as well. Okay, so repeat that on both sides again, okay, without me prompting you. So really being aware of your body, of your breath. Just checking in on you all. So we're resetting our pelvises here. The next one we're going to do, so you're staying on your back. This one actually today I heard a pop, and it was a good pop. Some of you might find when you're doing this, you'll hear a little pop. That's your sacrum or your pelvis clicking back into place if it's been unstable. I felt a really lovely release and I'm not in as much pain. So this one worked for me today. Okay, so staying lying on your back. And then your legs are going to stretch out. Okay, and then from here, flex the feet up to the sky. Flex the feet, and then draw the right knee in towards you. Hug it in as much as you can here. And then, with resistance, you're pushing your right shin into your hands. Your hands are resisting, and breathe. So there's a resistance there. You're not allowing that shin to move. The shin's really pushing into the hands, and the hands are pushing into the shin. Breathing nice and deep. There's no tension in the jaw or shoulders. And release. Legs down. Doing the other side. Bending that left knee. Interlace the fingers around that shin. Flex that right foot. When you're ready, push the shin as if it's trying to escape, but you're pulling it down with your hands. Nice deep breaths. And this is where I heard the pop today. I was like, oh, and then felt relief. Releasing. Okay, doing that again on the right side. And feeling the resistance, breathing into it. There's no tension in the jaw or shoulders, even though there's resistance here. Engage Mula Bandha if you can. Releasing. Keeping both legs down. Repeating on the other side. Again, pushing away with the shins, pushing. Breathing into it. Releasing, and then again doing each side again on your own. Just really bringing body awareness. So we're embodying our practices tonight. It's a physical practice, but not physical in the sense that we're throwing our bodies around the mat. We're really coming into our body and resetting. It's like almost like it's like a strong healing. Breathing into each side. Okay, when you finish that, you're going to get hold of, if you've got a belt, a yoga belt, a normal belt, a dressing gown belt, you're going to, this is another Sacral Reset, and this one I've been working with this every day since my sacrum really started playing up, and it's really been helping. Okay, so this is one to work with yourself or with anyone that you know that's suffering from this. So again, you're coming to lie down onto your back. You're going to get the belt and you're going to place it, and make sure there's a block near you here as well. One of your blocks or a book or whatever, because we're also going to be working with this too. So get this belt to go around your thighs, and you're keeping, so it's almost as if you're coming into Setu Bandhasana, but your feet are coming together as if you're in, I would say, Samasthiti as opposed to Tadasana. So Tadasana, your feet are hip width apart. You only have your feet together. So it's more of the Ashtanga mountain pose, Samasthiti. So basically, your belt is round your knees here, and then again we're working with resistance. So you're pulling, arms are down by your side, chin is tucked in. Pull the knees away. So resist against the belt and breathe into it. So you can feel the muscles in your pelvis in that area. There's a sort of stability there when you're doing it. And then release. Just feel the rebound and repeat again. Breathe into it. Really resist the belt or whatever it is that you've got tied around your thighs here. And it is very different to our usual practice, but there's so many different types of practice, and we need to work with what we need at that time. So this is Sarvanga Sadhana as opposed to Angabanga Sadhana. Release. Do it one more time. So pushing the knees away. So make sure there's still a little bit of an arch, a little gap in your lower back when you're doing this as well. The chin is slightly tucked in. Okay, and then release. You can feel we're working muscles here. Okay, so grab your block or your book or whatever you've got here, and now you're going to put that in between your knees. Keep the feet together again, and then from here, you're going to push the knees, push the block together. And it's a different set of muscles, so resisting the block or the book. So breathing while you're doing it, you're not holding your breath, you're not engaging anywhere else. So really push, 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 push towards now instead of away. Breathe into it. Then release. And then one more time. Push, 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 push. And then release. Okay. So you're going to slowly roll to one side here. And then you're going to, hopefully you've got somewhere to sit as well now. So a lot of these things are, because a lot of it's physio as well as yoga here, they want you to sit on big yoga balls, and I don't have big yoga balls. That doesn't sound good, does it? But we all tend to have seats because we're living here in the West. So if there's a seat somewhere or a wee table or something you're going to sit on. So again, you're going to come up to sit on the edge of a chair. Okay? So I'm getting you to do loads of stuff with props, and I don't normally use lots of props and stuff like that, but this is it's really just trying to build that stability into your sacrum here. Okay, so you're going to have your hands at the side of your thighs here, and you can, if you've got a bolster or something, you can sit up. So basically, all we're doing is something similar to what we were doing on the floor, but we're doing it with a straight spine. So make sure your vertebrae straight. Your hands are down. You've got a cat underneath me. Your hands are on the outside of your thighs, but they're near your knees. And then again, we're going to work with resistance. So you're pushing your knees. You're trying to push your knees out. You're not allowing your legs to move. So you're pushing your hands. Engage your core at the same time and breathe. So it doesn't look like we're working, but we really are here. Release. Feel the rebound. Let's do that again. So push the knees away and push the hands in. So we're really trying to create stability in the pelvis, clicking it all in. This is called sacral resetting. And I think it's really important as a yogi to reset your sacrum. And then release. Let's do that one more time. So pushing the knees pushing your hands towards the legs, not allowing your legs to move. Gauging the abs, breathe, 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 no tension in the jaw or shoulders. Okay, and then now you're going to make your hands into fists and take them in between your legs. If anyone walks past now and I'm sitting there like this in front of a camera, it just doesn't look good, does it? So now what you're going to do is you're trying to push your thighs together, but trying to open your legs again by pushing with your fists, and you're not allowing your fists to come apart by pushing in with your legs. And again, breathing into it. Release. Okay, and again, push, push, push. Release. One more time. And then release. Okay, so you might feel there's things going on in your body that you're not used to feeling if you're used to practicing a certain way. Okay, so slowly and carefully coming up. This is my neighbors looked down when I was in the middle of doing this one. So you're standing next to your chair if you've got a chair, or if you've got a low table. So it doesn't matter. A low table is probably better actually because I've got a rest there. And then what you're doing is you're taking so you have the chair to your right, try to have the chair to your right. Your left hand's onto your left hip, and you're going to take that right foot. So your knee is going to be in line with the second toe, and you're trying to open, so you are externally rotating here. Okay, so your right hand is to the inside of that thigh, but you're going to try and keep your sacrum stable here, and then from here you're working your torso. So if you can, if your body allows it, so listen to your sacrum here. So it worked for me. So this was another pop. Okay, so you're pushing that right arm and pushing and your right knee is going to try and keep in line with that second toe. And then you're going to try and twist your torso to the left. And it's not a neck twist. And you breathe out. So there is a twist here. But this is another sacral reset. And it feels weird. It looks weird. My neighbors looked down. They were like, what the hell is she doing? And then keep your shoulders relaxed. And if you want, if you can, and you're not feeling any pain, you can bring the outside of your right foot onto its edge now. So really feel that difference. But it depends on the level of SI joint pain or where it is in your SI joint, okay? So really listen to your body. Okay, and then release. Okay, feel the rebound. So doing the other side. So I'm not going to show my bottom to you. I'll go the other way. There you go. So again, you take your left foot up and you're turning it to the left, but try and keep your knee in line with the second toe. So this side hurts for me because of my SI joint. So the good thing is about when you do have an injury or one of your students has an injury that you need to learn about, you learn more about it. Okay, so that left arm to the inside, your right hand's onto your right hip, and you're opening up that left hip joint, but trying to keep the knee in line with the second toe. And if your body will allow it, you can go onto the side of your left foot, but you're twisting your torso round to the right. And it's not a neck twist, it's a torso twist, but keeping the sacrum stable and breathing. We're trying to reset the pelvis here, remember. Okay, and then releasing. Okay, so from here, we're going to, you can either, so you've got a variation here. If you've got a yoga ball, I don't have a yoga ball, you can sit in a yoga ball, because this is going to be we're going to start working with some core work as well. So you can either come back onto your chair or go against the wall and bend your knees as if you're sitting. If you're doing that, you are going to be really having to work your core muscles. I'm going to sit in the chair because I want to be able to see you and I want you guys to be able to see me. Okay, so choose what you want to do. And if you do have a yoga ball and you've not got it on you, you can come back to this because you guys can have the recording of it later. Okay, so what we're doing is making sure you're engaging your core muscles and your back is straight here. And all we're doing is either, if you're on the wall or sitting, keeping the core muscles, you're doing a kind of cat-cow with the breath. So it's a gentle cat-cow. So there's a tilt. You're tilting your pelvis back and forwards but keeping the core engaged. Now, if you're on a yoga ball, it would be a lot trickier, okay? And you would have to be a lot more mindful. So I would advise, if you want to do it properly, use a yoga ball, but I'm using what I have, and I think that's more realistic right now. Most people don't have a big ball rolling about their house, okay? So work with Mula Bandha as well. And then the next part to this, you can do it against the wall, or do it on a chair or a ball. It's almost as if you're rocking from side to side, but while you're rocking, I want you to keep the core engaged, so it's not just a rock. And I want you to breathe as well. So it's as if you're rocking on a boat from side to side, but keeping your core engaged. Okay, and then the next part, trying to keep the core engaged and you're circling the pelvis. Okay, so but do it very, very mindfully here. Round the other way if you've not gone the other way. Okay, and then coming back to neutral spine, engaging the core, engaging Mula Bandha here. And then from here, we're working with the opposite breath. So normally in Hatha Yoga, you would be inhale to lift your leg, exhale to bring it down. But we're going to inhale to lengthen through your spines and engage the core. Exhale to lift up your right leg, so you're flexing that foot. And you're exhaling to lift the leg, and then inhaling to bring it back down. And then doing the other side. Exhale to lift up that leg, flexing the foot, engaging the core. Inhale, bring the knee down. So keep working with this. So you're exhaling to straighten the leg, flex the foot, keep the engagement of the core and Mula Bandha. It's actually, it doesn't look that tricky, but you're really, really bringing stability into the pelvis here. Okay. You getting on? So finish the last side you were working on. Are you feeling all stable yet? So from here, you're staying on your seat. And again, you can use dumbbells if you like. I don't have dumbbells. I was using baked bean cans earlier, but you don't have to use anything, because it's really the movement here. Okay, so engaging again the core, and it's snow angels. I like the idea of doing snow angels. So you can have something heavy in your hands, but I'm just going to work with snow angels. So you're exhaling arms up and inhaling arms down, and keeping the engagement of the core. Okay, so we've done our snow angels, and then we're going to come down onto our hands and knees, coming into tabletop position. Okay, and then from here on tabletops, I'm going to go sideways here, and from here we're going to be superheroes. So you're going to lift up your left arm and your right leg. So flex that right foot. Try and keep the cervical spine in line with the rest of your spine. Tuck the chin and breathe. So this brings stability back into the pelvis, into the core. Dropping them back down, and then doing the other side. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Flex that foot, breathe into it. Dropping them down, then you're going to do the other side. Dropping them down. One last side. Okay, so because when my daughter and I were working through this, she went, clamshells, and I went, oh, for goodness sake, I don't have them either. But you don't need clamshells. It's called clamshells. So I was like, oh, I don't have dumbbells, I don't have yoga blocks. It was so you're going to get a belt here, and we're going to be clamshells. But one thing to be aware of, if you or the person you're working with has excruciating SI joint pain, this is an asymmetrical pose. So asymmetrical poses aren't so good. This is once the pelvis is starting to knit together a little bit better. Mine isn't as sore, so I'm able to do it. So this strengthens the hip abductors and the external rotators as well. So we're going to wrap the yoga belt around your legs above the knees, but this time you're going to allow about 2 feet. I don't even know what 2 feet is. So about that. How much do you think 2 feet is? So there is space here because you're going to be a clamshell. It's all very exciting, isn't it? So, so what you're going to do is lie on your side here. So you're lying on let's all go on our left side, and keep the top foot on top. You're going to lie on the top of your left arm, or you can so get yourself comfortable to what feels good for you here. And then this clamshell moment, what you're doing is you're lifting the right leg up and there's a resistance here, and you're staying here and breathing. So you really feel you feel it in your glutes here. Okay, so breathe into it. Really enjoy being a clamshell. You're supposed to do this 20 times on each side. I'm not going to do that to you guys tonight, but if you feel you need to later on, that's fine. So release. Let's do it another time. We'll do it 3 times on each side. So really breathe into it, really resist. This is really good for bringing stability into the pelvis, but building up, that strength in the glutes as well. And if you really want to work harder, get more banda involved too. Okay, release one more time. You feeling that ache in your cheeks there? It's good for you. So it's not pain, it's discomfort. It's finding comfort in your discomfort, knowing that life can be uncomfortable sometimes. So it's finding comfort within that. Okay, release. You can lie there just even give your bottom a wee rub if you need to. And then you're moving to go to the other side. Okay, we're going to be clamshells on the other side. Okay, so get comfortable, find your space. I find it quite comfortable to lie on my upper arm. And then again, building that resistance, lifting up. You're going to lift up, feel the resistance, breathe into it. Slowly bringing it down. And then again, breathe into it, resist. Okay, and then repeat one more time. And then releasing your belt away, and you're going to lie on your back, coming into Setu Bandhasana. If you don't have a cat at your head. Okay, so lie on your back, and then as you inhale, so again, remember, we're not trying to arch the back. Keep the back nice and straight. Engage the abs. If it feels comfortable for you, you can now tuck in the shoulders, interlace your fingers, and really come up into Setu Bandhasana. Breathe into it. Make sure there's not too much of an arch in your back and your abs are engaged. I'm writing up, I'm doing a workshop for Yoga Alliance for Yoga for Mental Health, just a little free workshop. And was it Iyengar said for depression and anxiety, if you can only do one asana, the one asana to do would be Setu Bandhasana. So a good all-rounder. It balances the hormones, it balances the chemicals in your body, it calms you down. You're also connecting into your 5th chakra as well, which is always very good. And yeah, your thyroid system, parathyroid system. So slowly come back down. And you're gonna, if you want to, you're gonna repeat that, or you can stay with your knees bent, listening to your body. What does your body need at this moment? So work with a Sarvanga sadhana, supported sadhana, as opposed to what you want to do. Listen to what you need as opposed to what you want. As humans, we tend to go for what we want, and it tends to sometimes be not so good for us. I was like that with men for a long time. So from there, bring yourself back down. And then we're going to do a psoas stretch. So this, again, this one felt wonderful for me. So you're going to get your block or whatever you had, you're going to place it, so coming up into bridge slightly and putting this block when it's flat, so it's supporting both hips. Okay, so both hips should be supported here. And then from here, stretch the left leg out, flexing the foot towards you, and pull that right leg in. And just breathe. Just really breathe and feel there might be a nice release here. So just stretching out the psoas muscle. Now the psoas muscle is another muscle that's connected. It's another part of the anatomy that's connected to mental health as well. It's also known as the muscle of the soul. Gently releasing. Draw your left knee in, flex that right foot, and you might feel a difference between each side here. One side might really enjoy it, another side might be going, what on earth are you doing to me? Just be aware of any sensations that come up for you. It might even be an emotional sensation, or it might be a thought or a feeling. Whatever it is, accept it, set it free. Allow it to become something. Just be a curious observer. Gently releasing, and then lifting your hips up slightly. Taking your block down and both legs out, just to reset. And then we're coming back to where we started. So coming to the wall again. Your feet against the wall. Get your fingers onto your hips and feel if there's any difference. Do your feet feel more comfortable flat against the wall? I totally felt the difference earlier today. I felt one foot was easier on the other side, and then afterwards they both. It was so much better. You might not notice a difference, but really just feel if there is a difference. Is one hip higher or lower, or does it feel more settled in there? So feeling the connection of your feet against the wall, so you really feel connected here. Take your arms down by your sides, close your eyes, and prepare yourself for Shavasana. If you're not warm enough, obviously get some cozy stuff together. But it's time for your well-deserved Shavasana. Just connecting in with your breath. And then letting go. Really let go. Feel yourself supported in the earth. Feel Mother Earth holding you up, keeping you safe and secure. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. Just allow yourself to be. So bring your attention into the space in front of your closed eyes and look into that space where dreams appear at night and see a vast cloud of dark smoke. It is dark, thick and swirling. So big you cannot see the edges of the cloud. The smell and the feel of the smoke in your nose is powerful and pungent. And as you look deeper and deeper into the smoke, your eyes water. You blink and see glimpses of a figure in the darkest part of the cloud. She's an old woman. She sits in the middle of the darkest heart of the cloud, absolutely still. She sits alone, cold, sick, tired, racked by pain and experiencing the deepest levels of suffering. She is you in the deepest depths of your deepest challenges. In the midst of the smoke, the you that she is sitting and waiting for it all to pass. She embodies everything there is to be learned from suffering, loss, and despair. This is a strong wisdom, born of experience of events which have shaped and scarred her. Old and alone, this crone you see in yourself is pared back to the very bone, but she is powerful. The you that is she calls upon the deepest inner resources simply to survive, and she still sits. Her wisdom is power. The smoke clears, the light shines, and the brightness illuminates the scene as it fades. The quality of feeling remains. A deep sense of inner resilience, a power that is close to the bone. This strong wisdom, this feeling of resilience and inner power, this feeling travels with you as the scene disappears. You're wise. You're resilient. You are powerful. And you are perfect, just as you are. Slowly bringing yourself back into the room. Beginning to make any movements that feel comfortable to you. Wriggling your fingers and your toes. Stretch your arms over your head, away from your body. Stretch your feet away from your body. Pull your knees in, give yourselves a hug. Rolling onto your right side into recovery position. Staying there. And then gently pushing yourselves up to seated position. Place your hands in Anjali Mudra. And we're going to end with an Om. We go. Om. Namaste. Thank you for practicing yoga with me tonight. I'm going to switch the recording off and see if anyone did feel it any different.